Hello, welcome and welcome back. This is Jacob, and today we are going to be picking up a new side story to narrate on the channel, or rather, shall I say, we're going to be picking up 6 side stories to narrate on the channel? Boy, this is an interesting little short event. So, To Be Continued has just released on the global side of the client, and it is pretty much made out of 6 individual short stories that are all connected to prior released stories. So, before we begin today, let me just quickly say, considering this is part 1 of a 3-part narration, and yes, we will be going through 2 stories per part, and considering that these stories are not too long and too cumbersome to narrate through as the usual kind is, expect a part each day essentially. So you won't have to wait too long to have this entire thing completed. But considering this is part 1, for anybody who might be new and bumping into the channel through this part alone, hi and welcome, hope you enjoy your stay. I do narrations here on the channel for all things Arknights, be it main stories, side stories, small little things like module short stories or some other things including files and stuff. You can find it all here for your listening pleasure on the channel. So, if you like anything around that, stick around. I also have completed the main story narration for now up until the end of chapter 9, aka episode 9 in game, and soon we'll continue with it into chapter 10. But yeah, outside of that, like I said, today we are going to be covering this side story and its first 2 books, shall we call them, considering they are portrayed as such. But yeah, first off, I usually also say in some of these videos, considering that a lot of stories nowadays are also like part 2s or are connected to something else, I usually say give it a shot. Read through this current one and see if you like what you're reading. Go back and read the other one to have more context and see where characters in this current one are from, or you get the drill. But all of these stories, like I said, are connected to already existing stories that are, and they are pretty much just continuing on with the lives of these characters and stuff like that. So if you haven't read these stories, you are probably gonna be very, very lost as to the stuff that is happening, especially the first 2 today. The first 2 stories that we are gonna cover today, the Browntail story and the Until Next Time story, are connected to both 2 stories that have released in the span of the last year. The Browntail story is pretty much connected to the Kierak storyline, aka the Break the Ice story from last year that featured the Silver Ash family plus the region of Kierag and all of that spiel. Good story, interesting stuff. I would highly recommend, if you're new to the game and haven't had the opportunity to read or get a summary of that whole thing yet, I did last year do a narration in this style that I'm gonna do today here on that story. Link will be in the description. The second story, Until Next Time, pretty much same thing. A couple, like, what, literally 2 months after Break the Ice was, shit, why am I blanking out? Was Invitation to Wine. And that story is pretty much connected to this one, because it contains a boatload of characters from that one. And some interesting details. But yeah, both stories I did narrations on, and you can find the links to those stories, or rather the playlists of those stories, in the description of this video if you so desire to go back through and listen to them if you haven't had the opportunity to, well, read them yourself yet. But yeah, anyway, let's begin with our first story today. I will just say one thing, and I think I'm not alone here, considering I've seen a lot of cutesy fan art of the characters that are going to be present in this story. Probably out of all of the pairings when it comes to side characters in Arknights. Uh, these two featured in today's story are probably like if I had a top 3 list, these would be undisputedly on number 1. Undisputedly on number 1 when it comes to NPC pairs. But anyway, let's begin with the Browntail story. Russ, are you done packing? Victoria's not like Kierak. We're trying to work with the other side this time. Our standing's weak, and they will take advantage of that to tear us open. The only thing I can tell you is there's no way of guessing what they're going to do exactly. It's up to you to determine. Alright, I get it. You're going to chew my ear off. If you have so little faith in me, why don't you do it yourself? Turn your brain on for once in your life and figure that out yourself. Why you... Alright, I've got no time to argue with you. Remember, this isn't an all-expense-paid vacation. You're representing the Browntails. Yucatan, keep an eye on your wife. Don't let her do anything stupid that would embarrass your clan. Don't nod to that. Yucatan, whose side are you on? Just as a side note here, Rattatas's name is quite obvious, or should be quite obvious maybe to some people, where it stems from. Especially if you're someone who has played the most two recent God of War games, because there is a Rattatas in there. But I was curious to how, and I hope I'm pronouncing that one right, Skurios, how her name is pronounced, and funnily, and I cannot remember if I did say this in the narration for Break the Ice, but finally found out that Skurios is a Latin name for squirrel. So we have Rattatas and squirrel. Someone was... yeah. Someone had a brilliant idea. And Yucatan is just Yucatan. Like, okay. He's the odd one out, I guess. But anyway, pardon. Continuing. Don't get sidetracked. Short version, pay more mind to this one. Eyes out, ears out, mouth shut. Don't shoot off like you did before. It's time you went out and broadened your horizons. Anyway, go and see the lands outside of Kierak. See just what kind of place Victoria is. Hey, you know, Rattatas. What? Is it me, or do you really wish you were going yourself? Russ, over here. Huh? Hands to yourself, bitch. I don't have a temperature. So why are you talking out of your ass? I was just asking. If you had the chance back then, would you have wanted to visit Victoria, Rattatas?
Ah, I finally found you two. Too many guests just now swarming me, I tell you. Pardon me for leaving you in the lurch.
Hardly, Mr. Harrison. Thank you for inviting us. We've been having a delightful time.
Now, how nice of you. I could have very well neglected you, not after you've come so far. Help yourself to any food or drink here, and if you need anything else, just fetch the closest servant.
That's very kind.
Oh, do you need me to quickly demonstrate how to use all this cutlery?
We'll be fine. Mr. Harrison, I think we should set that aside and start discussing partnership agreements between the Browntails and your own firm.
Oh, very to the point, Madam Skurios. But I'm given to believe we've already reached firm consensus, haven't we? Via partnership.
That is so. But I believe we still need to work out the details of a few terms.
Of course, you have no need to worry whatsoever. My assistant has the contract already. You can look over it whenever you have a moment to.
I've already read that contract. Oh? Let me be blunt. The Browntails cannot accept some of the terms within it.
So your proposal exactly?
We need to renegotiate the exact figures to for provision of labor and revenue share.
Yes, I will consider your concerns.
So,
Hold your beasties now, Madam Scutus. I'm of the mind that I've already been very generous with your cut of these orders.
but
Now, not to worry, this is still the same win-win for us, and I have a very good impression of Kialak myself. I would never have you or your family come out of this with losses.
it's Kiarak, not Kialak, Mr. Harrison.
Oh? Oh, of course, silly me. I always have trouble pronouncing that.
You've visited Kiarak before?
That I can't say I have, but quite some word of it has reached me in recent years. I've heard they roast entire meat beasts in Kialak dinner parties, and wine comes in big jars as tall as you or me, and they put on variety shows and the like too. I shan't for the life of me miss a chance to see it myself.
You're joking.
All right, I have to receive the other guests now. Enjoy the party, my friends.
Wait, I haven't finished.
Excuse me.
This pompous little ass. Kialak. Mr. Harrison, there you are. Who are those two over there?
Guests from Kialak, would you know? They're from a very prestigious family in the area.
Oh, well, I've never heard of the place before.
It's nothing more than some far-flung mountains. Not worth your concern, dame.
We're leaving Yucatan. Russ. Russ, we're alone now. He pisses me off. He pisses me off so much. The hell is his problem? Who let him act so high and mighty at me? You think I can't tell how much you look down on us, huh? On Kiarak? He wants to teach me how to use cutlery. Excuse me? Who can't use cutlery? Who puts a dumb show in his dinner party? And who doesn't even care to say Kiarak right? If he weren't going to business parties on Kiara damn Gunder's name, I would punch him into the sun. I'm so furious. Here, drink some water. No, my appetite is gone. Just drink some. Don't get those midnight stomach cramps. You can massage me then. Fine, sure. I'll massage you. Russ, you did well to hold out so long. What was I gonna do otherwise? If I went off right there, that bitch Ratatas would have jawed my head off later down the line. You did well. So, where do we go from here? Do you want to head back to the hall or just go to bed for tonight? Head back. Why wouldn't I head back? All we got out of this was me furious. We still haven't finished discussing the contract. Don't you dare think this is enough to make me back down. Really? Are you okay? Duh, I'm fine. I'm doing just great. I didn't need Ratatos to tell me. I understand partnering here in Victoria is the Browntail's first step to contact with the outside world. I can't mess this up. Not just that, I need every trick up my sleeve to get some good out of this. So it's fine. I can bear it. Russ. Yucatan, you've seen everything I did the last 2 days.
Quick little flashbacks of them just going around Victoria.
I've never seen such big machines before. They look so clunky, but they run so smoothly. And there were nice even streets all the way here, and stations everywhere, and the sheer stuff in the shop windows makes my eyes spin. They don't even use candles for lighting this dinner party. It's electric lights. Yucatan, Kerak doesn't have any of this. And I think we should have all this. It just takes trains, pretty cities, stores in rainbow colors. All we gotta do is build them. And then our kids can grow up around it all. And then when they're big, they can study abroad, they can go to be tourists. Wherever they want to go, they'll be able to.
You said kids?
No, I didn't mean that. What are you thinking? I mean, you know, Kerak's future children.
Calm down, Russ. It's not on my mind. It hasn't been...
What? You never thought about us having kids before?
I have. No, wait, not in that sense. Sorry. This whole conversation broke me so much the first time reading through this. How are these two married? How are they still so pure? What is this? They're just too fluffy. Anyway.
Basically, we need to do more for the future before we can rest. That's what that stupid, horrible Enceotis taught us as well, wasn't it? All that roundabout crap was a little too complicated for me, but the railroads and factories that the dipshit built...
Dipshit.
Kerak's changed a lot thanks to them.
Russ.
What are you laughing at? Quit petting my head, you're gonna mess up my hair.
Here, Russ, hold this. I'll sort it out for you. These two are just too adorable.
I can't stand you. We're outside right now, you know.
Sorry, I couldn't stop myself. You're right. These are things we should have. Things we will have.
Of course.
But I never expected you to say it, or compliment Enceotis for once.
Huh, don't be stupid, Yucatan. I'd never say anything nice about the Silver Ashes. I'm just being realistic here. Enceotis might make me sick, but if this is what he's been seeing all this time, then I can slightly understand all the stuff he's been doing. I admit he's got a little skill, that's all. I'm magnanimous enough to say that.
It's true, Enceotis has finesse.
Besides, I hate that stupid Gnosis guy by his side way more than I hate Enceotis. If it wasn't for the bastard pulling his pretend betrayal and scheming against us.
Under the circumstances, it was definitely a decent plan. Each side to their own, and none of the blame on him.
I don't care. What are you defending him for, Yucatan?
I'm not. Just glares at him. Alright, that was my bad. But it's been so long since it all blew over. When we make deals with these Silver Ashes in the future, we're bound to run into their people again. When are you going to let go of your grudge, Russ?
When they've prized it from my cold, dead hands. Look, it's apples to pears. I'm not going to wreck Ratatus's business, but don't count on me forgetting what they've done.
Not that the matriarch seems to mind at all anymore.
How exactly? That bitch might act like she doesn't care on the surface, but the truth is, her grudge runs deeper than mine. Did you forget when we were kids and went out to play, and we didn't call her along, and then Grandpa caught us when we came back, and we had to write lines for a week? I'll still bet anything that was Ratatus's revenge. She did that.
You know, we were playing outside for far too long, and that's why we were punished. We can't place the blame on the matriarch.
Come on, you've got way too much faith in my sister. You know, though, speaking of, Yucatan, have you ever gotten the feeling she kind of admires Enceotis? Not like she said it, but I can vaguely sense it. I agree, actually. If it wasn't for Ensiodas's methods afterwards being too extreme, the matriarch might not have reacted the way she did. You think so too? Say, you think the reason she put me onto this one was so I could see all this? Before we left, I asked her if she would have wanted to go to Victoria in those days too, if she had the chance. Really, I know how she's been thinking. Ratatas? Ratatas? Ratatas, if you're there, answer me. I've been yelling forever. I bet you're just pretending you can't hear me again. Why are you Huh? What are you staring at? Why shouldn't I ignore a little scumbag who doesn't even invite her sister? Who are you calling a scumbag? A little run who sneaks out to play all by herself and still wants me to cover for her. That's who. I'm sorry, that was my fault that time. Next time I'll bring you. I'll get Yucatan to watch out for us. Forget it, I'm busier than you anyway. And Grandpa's health is... whatever, who cares. Just don't stir up trouble for the next while, alright? Also, stop depending taking advantage of Yucatan. You're practically bullying him. How am I bullying him? Because I said you are. So, what do you call me? Ratatas. Huh? The firstborn, my elder sister. That's better, dear sister. Hold on, are you trying to trick me again? Don't touch the subject. What are you looking at? Just some periodic intel reports, nothing special. Grandpa lets you do this stuff already? He really trusts you. Because I'm capable of handling it, unlike my darling little sister. Why, you... Fine, I'm not picking a fight with you. What kind of news is there this time? I mean, you've been staring at this forever. Doesn't look like anything special. The Silver Ash firstborn's already left Kierag? He went to study at Victoria. Wow. He's great at excuses. I bet he couldn't stand it in Kierag any longer, so he just ran to somewhere else. Is that what you think? That's what everyone says. If he can stay, then who'd want to go somewhere they don't even speak the same language? I know I wouldn't. What? Ratatas, the firstborn? What's with the funny look? Stop. Put your hand away. I'm not at the point I need you to worry for me. You bitch. I was being nice. Enough. Thanks for being nice then. It just fills me with something. It was all for the Silver Ash's current situation and him being able to push past his worries. That's what let him make a decision like this. What decision? The decision to abandon everything. Ensiodas, you really are a callous man. That's what she said back then. I forgot all about it, but when I saw her and that stupid Ensiodas in the fire, I don't know why, and it was so many years ago, but it just instantly came back to me. That's when it clicked. Ratatas wasn't occupied with any of the thoughts we thought she was. Do you think the Browntail clan has been a burden on her this whole time? Was this before the end of the Patriarch? Yeah, not long after that, Grandpa passed away. You know that Grandpa's health was already shot by then. Ratatas just kept the wool over our eyes. Too many people had eyes on the Browntails, and the matriarch was still too young. Some people were bound to get ideas. Yeah, it got so busy for her she didn't even sleep. She had the heaviest bags under her eyes and thought I'd just missed them. Her temper got awful too. Ragging on me all day. Yucatan? Huh? Back when I wasn't convinced, when I kept trying to disagree with Ratatas, I was being such a dumbass, wasn't I? No. Okay, stop. Don't you say anything. I know I was stupid when I didn't help anything. I know I was stupid then and I didn't help anything. But I sure ruined plenty. I was stupid to the max. It's fine, okay? I know all the way deep down. It's whatever from anyone else, but you're the only one who can't say it. You're not allowed to yell at me. I wouldn't be able to take it. Russ, let me finish. You're brilliant. I've never once thought you were stupid. How do you say this stuff so straight? Do I? I don't think you're stupid, and neither does the matriarch. She totally does. Alright, but she wouldn't fault you. You've always been trying to do a little something, and she's always trying to put faith in you. Haven't things turned out pretty great now? I know that. I'm just still a little angry. Angry at myself and angry at Ratatos. Why couldn't I realize sooner? And why does she have to love showing off so much? Well, do you want some real talk? If it's not nice, don't say it. Come on, that won't do. Showing up probably runs in the Browntail family by now. You're not much different to her there, Russ. So our reluctant bravery lover, Madam Scurious, do you have a plan to persuade that Mr. Harrison and knock his greed down a few pegs? Hold on. What noise is that?
What a wretched dinner party. Am I to believe Mr. Harrison has the courage to purchase a noble's land, but not the bravery to receive me as a guest face to face? You lot. Your orders? Give our Mr. Harrison a little gift. No cold feet to be had here. Teach this man how the mercantile should treat the aristocracy. On it.
Quickly, fetch Mr. Harrison. What the hell? They are wrecking the whole hall. Is that Victorian noble their leader? What is this meant to be? Looks like he and Mr. Harrison got into a mix-up. He's destroying the house. That can't be your average mix-up.
Want me to take a look?
Hold on a bit longer. We can't just show up that casually, at least not right now. But I think this might just be a good opportunity.
Viscount Evans, we're honored to have you. Why didn't you send word in advance? I heard you were holidaying in Lithuania. I hardly thought. Mr. Harrison, you're quite the well-informed one on the subject of my travels. You hardly thought I would return early. I imagine I've thrown a hardly spanner in your schemes, Mr. Harrison. What are you... Now, Mr. Harrison, none of that silly countenance. You've been fraudulently snatching up shares in our joint firm, depressing prices and then purchasing the land on the sly while I was gone from the country. Not a good fit with your pathetic wide-eyed look. Viscount Evans, is this really called for? Our partnership is still in effect. If it's a question of interest, we could still hash things out again. This is hardly how you treat your joint associate. But of course, I haven't forgotten our partnership. And yet still, I would dearly suffer for not letting off a little steam here.
A dispute of interests between this merchant and this noble. Ratatas pushed me through a bunch of material before we left, so I knew about this, but who knew I'd see it firsthand? But with this... Do you have an idea, Russ? Yep. You just asked me if I had a plan for how to negotiate with Mr. Harrison. Now I do. Quick, Yucatan. Here's our chance.
You can't just do this. Oh, can't I? Mr. Harrison, let's be crystal clear. Suppose I do something to you, then they'll report that pitiful Sir Harrison sadly passes away in duel with Viscount. You can't possibly hope they'd lay hands on a noble. Sir? Huh? People got a lot of our guys knocked out now, only a few up still. And seems one of the guests called the police. Look. You're not as dull as you suggest, Harrison. Fine job on finding some lackeys. What? Enough of the tomfoolery. I'd come in thinking there would be future leeway for discussion if you were tactful enough here, but it seems you don't quite agree. Today was just a lesson. We're far from through yet. We're leaving.
They're just gone now. What about these guys then?
The red-haired Zalek carelessly dumps the people over her shoulder in front of the magnate.
Just put them here. Someone will deal with them.
Are these all Viscount Evanses? You don't mean those lackeys he mentioned were...
If you don't have anyone else to choose from, then I imagine you mean us. Are you alright, Mr. Harrison?
Skip the worst of it, though I must seem an awful fool to the two of you and, no matter what, I thank you for with all my soul. Only having set about to the Viscount's man like so, I worry in future,
Mr. Harrison, let me be straightforward about that. Your partnership with that noble's in for a rocky ride, isn't it?
Well...
You've publicly offended him now, we've beaten up his entourage, and it looks like he's a rung on the ladder above you, so you got no way to get him. Is he going to just keep working with you? Based on what I know, your firm is in the key phase of its expansion right this moment, and if your partner pulls out midway, there'll be a massive blow to you, right?
What are you getting at here? You can't be telling me you just did all that on purpose.
Come on, I'm doing nothing more than talking facts here, that's all. Don't go and overthink it. You're stuck between continuing to back to that noble or searching for a new associate under pressure. We have a small little proposal there. We Browntails are one of Kiarak's 3 clans. A single puny Victorian noble poses no threat to us. If you're inclined, the Browntails will be your most reliable business associates. How about that, Mr. Harrison, regarding that partnership between us? Is it me, or do you think we can renegotiate now?
Got him. Alright, and we continue on to the second story. Until next time. So once again, this one is connected to the Invitation to Wine story pretty much directly. From what I've read, I think this is pretty much taking place right after the events of that very story. And unlike this one, unlike the Browntail story that is very sparse on returning characters, like this one literally had 3 total returning characters from that story, all the Browntails essentially. This one is character vomit. So let's begin. Still a little chilly, so early in the morning. Typical of Shangshu's weather. Cool now, hot and hotter by noon. It's a fickle one. There is rule to heat and cold. I presume Shangshu's folk have long since accustomed.
Indeed, but seeing the rain come hardly lately, I'm worried the weather's about to turn. Best it isn't some blistering cold or heat, so the people have a little time to adapt.
The season is here. Shocking turns come as granted. Boatman, may you ferry me?
By all means. Where to?
Across the river.
Fine by me. How should this river of yours be crossed, in your view? Which route? Are you hurrying or taking your time?
What difference is there?
If you're in a rush and time is short, I'll ferry fast. We'll reach the other shore without much effort.
So what if I'm not?
Then we'll have to fix up some wine and sides before we cross. The wine's warmed aboard the boat, and we come from upstream to the crossing. Staying to the side as we drift down, we can gaze on the city and see the fields being planted. Fine scenery.
Not half bad.
Then so it'll be. I'll warm the wine now.
You're deft at business.
So, this line of work goes. Always a need to play it by ear. Few sirs like you would turn down viewing more of old Shangshu City. If it's not for the city, then it's for the people.
Quite. The people deserve to be viewed. If not, then it's not a wasted journey. I imagine Liang Shun has informed you. He's to go with me this evening to return to the capital. The way out of Shangshu will be led by you.
He did inform me. Don't blame us. Mr. Liang's leaving in a rush here. Us folk can't help but be worried. Our magistrate, as good as a parent to us, we say, but he's still young in the end. Resembles the nephews of our own at times. There's concern to be had.
Liang Shun has the talent and the resolve. Should he withstand, he will be famed and recognized.
And what if he doesn't? No, never mind, I shouldn't ask. If you want to see Shangshu, just come with me. Only shame is young Li's still searching for someone right now. He'll be hard-pressed to meet Mr. Liang this evening if he wants, I think. And scenery change. This still quite cool. It's lucky we are not cold ourselves, with the tea warm. Official affairs inundate you, my lord. What brings you here so early? I need to stress this. It has been, what now, 8 months, roughly, since the release of Invitation to Wine, and they still have not fixed his head! Why? Why is it still broken here? What happened? Did no one notice this on his model? I think people were pointing this out that were reading through the story, but did no one point out this little neck break here? What happened to this guy? What happened to his model? I feel so sorry for it. That is such a weird glitch in whatever the frick it is. Anyway, pardon. It angers me.
I agree to watch the play with you. Cloak in some more layers. Mind the chill.
When did we agree this? All I had said was to come if you were free.
And I'm free today.
Liar, your work is surely a mountain of bother, with the Grand Tutor so urgent in handing it over to you. Could it be, my lord, you did not sleep last night?
I did get a little shut-eye. You're also early to rise today, Miss Ning.
I guess the headstrong Liang would come at first light despite all exhaustion, and so was awaiting you the whole time.
That,
Your teacup is empty. Pass it to me.
Thank you.
This is but a cup of tea. Need we such formalities between us? It is pleasant to be able to sit here in this mountain, drinking tea, shaking oneself awake. The refreshments at the shop are quite fine too. The xiaobing, sesame cake, and
Sweet fritters. You've lauded this place before.
Ah, and you remembered?
Being that you're fond, I take note.
Everything of Shangshu is fine, save the slight strength in flavor. Lucky that the pastries by and large are tender and sweet still. They fit my palate. Your estate stews were very spicy at first, my lord, though they have been considerably better since. I could not pick up my chopsticks before needing to seek water. How very sorry for me.
The estate has spice remedying decoctions available at all times. Miss Ning, you're home.
The waterways of the south. We are no great spice eaters.
I apologize for the trouble.
What matters is, we all must adapt at some point.
So you say, though it's not so easily done.
It's not hard, should you intend to. We all must adapt at some point.
Verily.
You have mentioned you are native to Shangshu, my lord?
I am. I left home at an early age and only returned in recent years. You know as much, Miss Ning.
I have heard you make mention. Is it then that you met your Lungman friend in your period away?
Yes. I knew nothing back then, left to forge my own way, made no shortage of friends, believed the spirit of youth could conquer everything, accomplish anything. I did plenty of clownishly ridiculous, foolish things.
'Tis no foolish thing to make friends. My lord, the friend you have made is a fine one.
I was simply lucky to.
Were it not for such urgent affairs, 'twould only be right we bid your friend on a true, proper tour of Shangshu, being the hosts that we should. Would also be more chances to hear some anecdotes of your past, my lord. Who knows how different you are these days?
I have never changed. No. Maybe I have changed some, but... What I set out to do for those common peoples have never changed. When the Grand Tutor last evening proposed I accompanied him to the capital, I didn't want to accept at first.
You denounced me for accepting in your place?
No, I hardly could. I should not have hesitated in the first place. I should be thanking you, Miss Ning.
So long as you don't blame me. I understand you are uneasy for Shangshu, as can others, but the Grand Tutor's word is a different story. He keeps no mediocrity for company. What he assigns are but the most rugged, hard-fought opportunities. I believe, should my perception of you not be faulty, that if you had refused in a moment of hesitation, you would surely regret in time.
I understand. I apologize for worrying you. Miss Ning?
No, nothing. I just suddenly imagined. If you had then and there, earnestly, unreservedly agreed to leave, I fear I would perhaps have been quite angry.
You're joking, Miss Ning.
I am certainly not joking. In so little time, the sun has come up. My lord, are you enjoying this play?
It's not so bad.
Then shall you be descending the mountain sooner?
No. I'll watch another while. Listening. Watch another while.
Okay, come on, Dad. Stop looking at it. Why? What's even the point? It's just a travel itinerary. Me and the guys already rushed it out. We're leaving once everything's packed. And I have a whole room of stuff that still needs packing, so...
What's the rush? Let me look it over again. You're a group of young people. You rush your decisions. That's a recipe for disaster.
What's wrong with you? What's wrong with young people? You were all young once, right? Didn't you all go all over when you were young, Dad?
Is that a fair comparison? Without anyone to accompany you, will you be sure of which ways you can go and which you can't? For this long a journey in this season, do you even know what you should bring and what you shouldn't?
Dad, times have changed. Stop lecturing me about your old days.
Yo, Yi. Listen, there's not much your dad can tell you, so... If you're sure you're going to human, then go. I couldn't stop you all anyway. Avoiding the path we laid out for you might just be for the better.
Dad, suppose, and I'm just picturing. Suppose we don't run our inn here. You still got a couple cousins. Have you considered going with us to human?
Oh yeah.
Dad, I'm just wondering out loud. I know it's not gonna happen. You can just listen or something.
Oh yeah. This inn was meant to be left to you. If you're not taking it, we may as well close up shop sooner rather than later. If you want to set up your own business, I won't stop you. I trust you to have thought it through, but I still need to tell you a thing or two, and I don't want you to think I'm prattling.
Dad.
You're leading all those youths. They trust you, follow you. They say times have changed. You're right, times have changed, but this sort of thing doesn't change no matter what the times are. You step forward, and they're there all at once. So no matter how difficult it gets in the future, you can't back down. No matter how tough, how exhausting, you have to bear it. Do you hear me?
I know. I know, Dad.
Alright, take the itinerary. I've kept you off of some of your tougher roads. If you can stick to the highways, do so. Never revisit those same muddy paths we waded through.
No need to worry.
It's hard not worrying. I have a worry right this moment.
Go on.
Yaoi, you're not young anymore. When you go to human, can you possibly try and bring back a decent young man?
Stop. Dad, that is so stupid to worry about.
How is it stupid?
It just is. Jeez, I'm not talking to you anymore. I need to go to Mr. Liang's place anyway.
What do you want Mr. Liang for?
I'm not the one looking for him. It's that stupid Lee guy.
If Lee can't find him, Mr. Liang's not likely to be at the estate. What use would you have for going?
That makes sense. Yeah, okay. He's just using the same trick again to dupe me. I'm gonna go find him and get mine.
You proud little girl. When will you finally settle down?
That was adorable. And now for these two. Also, I just want to say, I think I said it back when I was doing the narration for this story as well. Maybe I forgot to mention it, but whatever. He is way too detailed to not be a playable character in the future. Like, that amount of detail on his character is stupid. Unless I don't remember from... maybe I'm not remembering, because I'm usually trying to stay away from anything from the Chinese client. Is he playable already? Or is he not? I have a stupid feeling I've seen him as a playable character for some reason. But anyway. Do not pry into others' domestics. Your concern is unnecessary. Ling Lin Jingyan, what do you mean by this? Eat your food. You know I'm not referring to that. Also, yeah, that was, again, another thing of... I don't know if it was mentioned before, because I have a terrible memory for names specifically. But was Lazy's full name mentioned before? Because he just addresses her with full name here. You were waiting here from sunup, so you could hold me from visiting those three. You have to have some reason for me. I told you, I'll go with you. Lin Jingyan. You're making a scene. Look at yourself. I did not make this trip in my capacity with the Central Judicial Office. Disregarding our positions, what should you be calling me? Are you forgetting the rule? Auntie. Another one has joined the fray. But this one wants to be called Auntie. Anyway. Good. Why do you always bring this out to stifle me? It's not so if you're an honest relative. You're just relying on the friendship between the Lins and my dad and being a generation older. Just why did the Tianshu bureaus have you make this trip? For the common people, naturally. How nice for the common people. If that's the case, will you really just ignore? Will you really just carry on like this? The Grand Tutor has made his judgment. I may simply await orders. But you, Zuoli... Within the Sui regulators, you're still green. What is concealed behind this trip to Shangshu is not simple, and as it seems now, you have no awareness of the inside details. Dispatched yet barely cognizant. Ridiculous. Who called you here? No one sent me. I volunteered myself. What? Don't you believe me? I do. I believe you volunteered yourself, but I also believe there are strange actors behind this. This is my first time hearing that the impartial, incorruptible, honest, forthright Lin Jingyan of the Central Judicial Office has learned to speculate on the bureaucracy's murky secrets. Don't rumors say you're sick of giving those sorts of shameless busybodies the time of day? That if anyone tries to wag on at you, you shock their brain numb? This right now is far from your style. You have no need to point fingers at my style of affairs. I'm entrusted with your care. When things concern you, it's only natural I exercise some caution. Did you click your tongue at me? I did not. You misheard, Auntie. Once this matter is through, you should return with me to the capital as well. But General Azuo desires it. Understood. I will accompany you back. Assistant Minister of Rights. This is not a post that participates too much in government affairs. Did you ever hear, my lord, how this position of mine came to be?
I'd like to.
You rose upon your own excellence. This I cannot compare to. The Ning family, this major in a sense, sorry that its ancestors were, its descendants did progress. Generations accumulated property, connections and assets, and so things passed down. My father's father was an official, first rank, assiduous for quite some decades. You should know him, even if I did not tell you his name. I would only be ready to say to you, my lord, lest it seem I was flaunting.
Hardly. Miss Ning, you are a fine one.
I knew you would not think so. I have told you too that I rank 7th within my own generation.
Good.
My father's generation thought otherwise, as did the ones below. My oldest cousin is on my father's side, 10 or so years my senior, and has long settled himself down. As my grandfather prepared to retire from officialdom, so I was at junior vigor's peak and became drawn into a smuggling and embezzlement case. By a fluke, I caught a string of thieves, and the documents landed on my grandfather's desk the following day.
Your ability excels, Miss Ning.
Pleasantry.
I would never. It is my honesty.
Then I will believe you. My grandfather called me to his study alone. We conversed of little in particular before he asked me this one question. He asked, "Shikyu, would you be willing to give your ability and learning for the country, the people, and for the realm?" And I replied,
You would offer your life.
without hesitance.
Your spirit is bold, Miss Ning.
Enough now. The story ends here. My lord, your tea is cold.
It's still somewhat warm.
But I noticed your hands are cold now, my lord. If you would be willing to have half this cloak back from me, it's not out of the question we could steep a freshly brewed pot.
Health is crucial. Very well. Don't take it off.
I am fine. If you do not believe, shall we test if I am warmer than you?
My hands are cold. Don't be chilled, Miss Ning.
Yeah.
After today, I don't know when we'll find the chance to meet again. Take more care of your health, Miss Ning. Don't let the cold tempt you. Should you ever wish to view the flowers in the future and don't deem it too far flung, then you need to take it upon yourself. Have someone take a letter and send them to me to plant. Miss Ning?
Right. Well, given you speak so, I will be straightforward too. My lord, how much longer are you going to keep that ribbon jewelry case in your pocket?
This is...
Is? What, my lord? Could you have possibly intended to give that to another?
That was cute. I can't stand it. We shouldn't have taken you to him. Shouldn't have. Won't you show yourself?
Wouldn't work, showing myself now. Their whole back and forth's more of a work of an art than any stage play.
Who knew old Ling would...
Never we mind.
No, that won't do. I do mind.
We knew after a decade and change apart, Yang would turn out like this.
A decade and change apart. It's not uncommon.
It gets to me. At least there's still tea to drink and a play to watch.
Well, Liang Xun, you owe me another now.
One less cup of wine with an old friend really is difficult to swing. I wonder if that final moment there, it's still Lee, actually not Lee talking, but the other one who was talking through Lee? Or wait, was he talking through Lee, or was he creating a copy of Lee and talking? I can't remember. I think he was talking through Lee? But yeah, I wonder if that was that guy. Wink. But anyway, this will be it for part 1. Like I said, these parts are probably gonna be all short, but I'm gonna be uploading them daily. So part 2 of this is gonna be out tomorrow, after this update. And I'm just gonna quickly say here, well, first off, this one is very easy to tell who the fuck it is. God damn it, fucking Lazarites, I hate them. Anyway, I might hate Lazarites as a unit, but I love Roy and Monique. Those two were great. Anyway, this will be an interesting one to see. I wonder if it's gonna cover the already slightly hinted at after story for them, or if it's connecting to something more along the lines of the aftermath of the night tournament, but we'll see when I start reading that tomorrow. And this one, I'll say this, Wolf and Wolfpack. When I saw the trailer for this event and I saw the silhouettes for some of these, when I saw this, it made me so happy that I recently had you all vote on Code of Brawl because, hey, I can't remember the commenter's name from the top of my head right now, but you know who you are, who asked if we knew anything about what happened to our two mafiosi bros. Well, I think we're gonna get an answer in this story. And I cannot wait to read through this one tomorrow. I am very curious. This one is probably the freshest in my mind because, again, Code of Brawl connection right there. But yeah, anyway, that will be for tomorrow. For now, I thank you all for listening, and I will see you in the next part. Until then, have a good one, everybody.